So one of the first major changes I've made in the past week in the garden is something I'll show more in depth in another video, but it's to take care of the wind issue that we've got here. And today's a perfect day to show this out because it is really windy today. So the main thing I did was just attach a windbreak on the side of the garden to protect especially the things that are on the upper shelves. And then I've just made a really low budget, I guess, windbreak for the front of it that I will also show in another video. But at this point I'm going to remove this so that I can give you a better shot of all the stuff that's going on inside, but this is just an option for preventing some of the wind from damaging the plants that are inside the shelf. Here on the top of the tiny plant stand I've got my kale and garlic and some violets growing. The kale has been doing great. These two over here are especially doing great. The one over here is a bit of a slow poke. But I've been picking off leaves of the kale here and there and eating them, and they have been tasting so sweet and really good. The garlic that I got as transplants has been doing really well, except for one of them, which does not seem to be full of much life. It hasn't been growing or dying, it's just kind of laying there, so that remains to be seen. That was one of the transplants that was upside down, so I think it might be struggling a bit to adjust in the container. But I've been eating a bit of green garlic. As you can see, I got a little hungry here and ate some. So these have all been doing really well. Down below in this little space I've just put the extra alpine strawberries that I had growing. So in the window box I've also interplanted some chive and some lettuce seeds, so those will be sprouting up in the next month or so. In this pot I've got one Jerusalem artichoke that's popping up, so hopefully that will be doing well, and then just a bunch of lettuce and some violets that are getting big but still no flowers at this point. So not too sure if they're going to be getting enough light to make flowers, but I hope that they do, so we'll see about that. Over here another large pot, and the exciting news over here is that these Jerusalem artichokes, which I were concerned were dead, have started producing new leaves, so they're not dead. So this one's got that here. And then this one is actually branched into two different stems over here, so that will look interesting, I guess. But the good news is that they're not dead, so that's exciting. I've also got in this one a happy little pea plant that's growing up, and it's using the Jerusalem artichoke as a little buddy, just as I hoped. So it's been grabbing on, you can see maybe in 3 different places here. If I can focus. It's grabbing onto each of these 2 leaves and to the stem, so I think that's really cute when plants make use of each other in order to grow better. There's also some lettuce growing in here, and again some more violets that I'm not sure if they're going to be growing well or not, but we'll see. Moving on to the shelf, I've got, you can see my more alpine strawberries. This is my main alpine strawberry section. This box has, I believe, some sorrel mixed in with this that will be cropping up in the next little while, just some small sprouts at this point. And these ones have spinach mixed in, so the spinach has started popping up, but it's just the seed leaves at this point. And then in behind, it's my experimental ramp transplants, which I'm really realizing are getting maybe a bit more sun than they like, and they seem to be not doing very well. I don't know if you can see, but the leaves are kind of getting wilty and yellow, so I don't know if that's going to be that much of a success, but it was an experiment, so I might try moving them around a few different places in the next few days, or I might just forget about it if they're dying. Moving up here, this is the shelf that I'm reserving for my Red Robin tomatoes, but they're still inside because I think it's a bit too cold out. It's about 10 degrees Celsius today, which I think is maybe like 50 Fahrenheit. For those of you who use that system, so it's not super warm, and also it's supposed to go down to I think like 2 degrees tonight, which is close to freezing, so I am too nervous to put my tomatoes out yet, of the little baby tomatoes. But just until that's happening, I've got some radishes and spinach growing in this pot. Here I've got some carrots and lettuce. The lettuce has just started coming up, the carrots not yet. And here I have my very thriving pot of arugula and lettuce and carrots that's doing really well. Up on the next shelf, I planted some Greek oregano and some parsley that's just hanging out in here. This is going to be reserved for some more herbs later on once it warms up, maybe some basil. Moving up again, here I've got a box of greens. So on this side I've got arugula I just planted this maybe 4 days ago, but it's already popping up. Arugula is fast. And the spinach will be coming in over here, hopefully. And then here I've got some radishes all in a row, and some butter crunch lettuce seedlings sprouting up, and then some violets that again have not flowered. We'll see. Top shelf. I'm not quite tall enough to show you this well, but here I've got some French tarragon and some thyme. This next planter is empty. I think I'm going to be putting some cucumber in that and seeing if it will trail down. Here I've got some spearmint, and I'm going to be taking some peppermint from inside the house and transplanting it in there. And then here are just some little baby chard seedlings that I've planted, and I also have some carrots in there that will be sprouting up at some point, hopefully. Now down here I have my 3 tomato plants that I'm still working on hardening. As I mentioned, the weather has been really cold the past couple of days, so I don't trust them being out here permanently. But I've got my black cherry tomatoes, my unknown variety of yellow cherry tomato that I'm growing from seed. These are putting out an awful lot of little blooms. I don't know if I can focus on that. But yeah, they've got some here, they've got some here, they've got some here. So each of these 2 plants has about maybe 4 or 5 clusters of blooms, but they haven't started opening, and I think it's much too cold for them to be doing that, so I'm not sure if those will fall off or open. And then over here I have my very large honeybee tomatoes, which are, yeah, getting quite tall. And they have, I think, a couple of blooms somewhere, but I can't remember where on them, so I won't bother showing you. But they are so far doing well. They don't seem to be suffering from having been hardened off, but I am still keeping them inside at night because it's getting down to dangerously close to the freezing mark. Here's just a little basil plant that I managed to find at the nursery a few days ago. We had a few days of really, really warm weather earlier in the week, and when I went to the nursery it was just slammed with people and they had sold out of basil. And I went back the next day and this was the only kind that they had available besides like cinnamon or lime basil. So I got this one. It's called lettuce leaf basil. I've not tried it before, but I've heard that it's okay. It doesn't seem as intensive flavor as I usually like in basil, so I might try buying a few other varieties as well. But I've been taking it in at night because it's getting, I think, too cold for basil to handle at night. So it's been getting a little bit babied still, but it seems to be doing mostly okay. It's a little bit root bound, I think, in the pot, so I'll probably be dividing it up when I plant it, and I'm going to be interplanting that with one of these 2 larger tomatoes over here. Here I've got my pea, and I believe I also just put some miner's lettuce in here, planter. The peas are doing fantastic. This one here is growing way, way up. In the past, I would say in the past like maybe 4 days it's like tripled in size, so the peas are doing really well. Here I've got some garlic that's finally sprouted up. I just replanted the garlic, I want to say maybe 3 weeks ago, because the ones I had planted in October rotted in the soil, so over the winter they didn't make it. So these were just planted in the past 3 weeks or so, and all of these ones in this planter have sprouted up. And then there's also some, I can't remember what else in here, but there's some greens that are going to be growing in the next little while, I hope. This is another garlic planter with some more stuff planted with it. So this garlic, only one of the 4 that I've planted has sprouted, but hopefully his little friends come join him in the next coming days. There's also some spinach in the back that's growing a little bit slowly, but making its way nonetheless. And I had, again, some extra alpine strawberry plants, so I just tucked those in the front. They might get moved at some point. And here I have another planter of peas and one lone little spinach that's come up, so it's going to be full of peas and spinach hopefully within the next week or so. So that's pretty much all for the week 2 update. It's been, as I said, pretty cold and windy and cloudy out here, so I haven't been able to move as much outside as I would like at this point, so I'm hoping that in the next few days things get warmer and sunnier and I'll be able to move some more things outside. So hopefully by the next time I'm able to do an update, things will be a little greener out here and less like a sad concrete balcony.